Hey y'all, it's Jenny Procopi from ChronicBabe.com, and today is another beautiful AWAP Wednesday. If you haven't been with us before, AWAP stands for As Well As Possible. And in all things Chronic Babe, that is what I wish for you, that you are as well as possible every day, that you kick ass and take names in spite of illness. So today's question comes from a fellow Chronic Babe, and she writes, Dear Jenny, I wonder if you could address sex and sexuality and chronic illness. Obviously, everyone is affected differently by their illness. I can't have what is generally considered sex by our culture, but I can enjoy some sexual pleasure with another patient, imaginative person or by myself. Still, I find myself feeling insecure and overwhelmed when I think of embarking on a new relationship or even furthering my own exploration of my sexuality. Can you help? That is a great question, and you are very brave, babe, for asking it, because a lot of people are too afraid to talk about sex, but not me. Now, because we're not sitting here talking face to face to the person who wrote this question, I don't actually know what you mean by what is considered sex by our culture. So I'm going to assume that it's the default position. We're talking about a man and a woman, missionary, penetrative intercourse. I'm just going to make that assumption. So let's shatter a myth, why don't we? Let's shatter the myth that that kind of sex is normal and that you're not normal if you don't have it. Let's just, done. Plenty of people, and when I say people, I want to be really clear here, I mean men, women, gay, straight, bi, trans, single, coupled, polyamorous. I'm talking about all people, okay? Plenty of people do not have what is generally considered sex by our pop culture because they're just not into it. They may have limitations from disability or illness, or they may have some other physical limitations, or maybe it's just not their scene. So don't let that societal standard be the yardstick by which you measure yourself, because that's just a very, very tiny, narrow perception of what is sex. The best way for you to build confidence in moving forward in new relationships, in my opinion, is to really get to know yourself. The more you try new things, different positions, toys, locations, time of day, the more you will learn what turns you on and what gets you off. When you're confident about this side of yourself, dating gets so much easier because you're able to express what you want and what you need and why, and you're able to have a more cohesive conversation and productive conversation with your partner or potential partner. And in turn, this kind of self-awareness actually helps you keep a much more open mind about the needs and desires of potential partners. Sex and sexual activity and sexuality, it is not this narrowly defined thing. It is a huge spectrum. There is every kind of sex act for every kind of person that you can perform by yourself or with a partner or with partners. And when you're out in the dating scene, you just never know who you're going to meet and what they're going to want and need that's different from you or the same as you, or the things that they might introduce you to that you never even thought of. You may meet someone who is great on paper but isn't compatible with you sexually, or vice versa. I encourage you to look at these experiences not through the lens of someone with chronic illness or disability, but simply through the lens of being a human being. You know, we all have this cultural pressure to not talk about sex or not talk about it in a certain way or not ask for certain things, and everybody faces that, whether they have chronic illness or disability or not. So if you can take a little pressure off yourself and stop thinking of yourself in this little box of like, I am sick or disabled and I can only do X, Y, or Z. When you kind of shatter that box open and go, wow, I'm just a human and we're all connected and we all face these questions, it makes those conversations a lot easier. finally, I encourage you to educate yourself. There is a whole world of information out there to help you learn what's going to work for you. I would start with doing things like listening to podcasts. I particularly love Savage Love by Dan Savage. It is a super all-inclusive podcast. He talks about every kind of person and every kind of situation, and I think it's just a good primer. And you can go back and search through hundreds of episodes and printed blog posts by him. It's a wealth of information. I would also hit the library or get a couple books on your Kindle. Read Our Bodies Ourselves, which is a great primer on how our bodies work as women, or how they're supposed to work if we don't have illness and disability, but at least it gives you like a common ground. Or read The Good Vibrations Guide to Sex. That is a great all-inclusive, super exhaustive manual of doing it. And if you Google disability dating websites or chronic illness dating websites, you will get a ton of options. And if you just prefer to kind of skip ahead a couple moves and not even have the conversation with someone where you have to explain that you're sick or that you got this or that going on, but just kind of jump ahead, maybe a dating site that's focused on that will help you do that. Read, 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 and read some more, and listen some more. Learn about how your illness or disability has impacted or could impact your libido or your ability to orgasm. Talk to your doctor about medications that you're taking and how they might be affecting you. Talk to a physical therapist or an occupational therapist about ways that you can approach different sexual positions or different techniques. There are lots of experts out there to help you in your specific situation. It's your job to become an expert on your sexuality. Okay, you got your marching orders, babe. Get out there and get some. I hope you enjoyed this AWAP Wednesday video. I sure had fun making it. I have this great vision of all these chronic babes getting out there, doing it. It's pretty fun. If you have a question that you want me to answer, please send me an email. Just head to chronicbabe.com and there's a contact form. I want to answer as many of your questions as I can. And I want to hear from you. Have you had a crazy experience, or have you had really good experience? Well, tell us your stories. We want to know. Head over to this post at chronicbabe.com if you're not already there, and jump into the comments. We have a really robust conversation every week, so please join us. While I have you here, I want to remind you that subscribing to our free newsletter gets you an amazing 30-page toolkit with all kinds of exercises and resources on how to be a chronic babe. And you'll get notice of all the things I'm doing, including videos like this and a book that I have coming out in a couple months. So I don't want you to miss a thing. So if you're not signed up, head to chronicbabe.com today and subscribe. All right, it's been a great week. I'm so happy to be with you today. I hope that for the next week you take great care of yourself and be AWAP. Mwah. Beep. To something. Conversations and navigating the kind of wild sexual waters out there. What are sexual waters?